Hello students, today we are going to see the topic that is iodine deficiency disorders. Okay, today we'll see what is iodine deficiency, okay, and iodine deficiency disorder. In that we are going to see what is iodine deficiency, then what are the sources of iodine, what are the functions or the role of iodine, right? Then the causes of the iodine deficiency disorder that are shortly called as IDD. Okay, then disorders related to this iodine deficiency. Okay, worldwide we'll discuss what are the causes and the disorder related to this iodine deficiency or improper intake of this iodine. Okay. Then we will see the national program to control this iron deficiency disorders that are mostly related to the disease goiter. Okay, so we'll see the program at the second session. Now we'll see. Before that, let's see what we have seen in previous lecture. That is, previously we have seen the iron deficiency disorders and vitamin A deficiency disorders, right? Now today we'll see in this session what are iodine deficiency disorder, the sources of iodine, functions or the role of iodine, then the causes of IDD, that is iodine deficiency disorders. Okay. Then disorders related to this IDD or the iron deficiency. Okay, in adults, in childs, or in adulthood also. Okay. Then national program to prevent or to control the iron deficiency disorder we see at last. Okay. Now, from this topic or this topic is mainly to understand what are the iodine deficiency disorders. Okay, so in this we are mainly going to discuss the deficiency diseases or the disorders of because of this improper intake of the iodine. Okay, then to understand what are the sources of iodine or what are those food which are rich in the iodine so that we can consume those food and we can prevent this IDD or the iodine deficiency disorders. Then to understand the disorder related to this iron deficiency, we'll see the disorders in detail. Then to know about the national program, okay, to control this iodine. Okay, what is the national program to control this iodine deficiency? We'll see in detail. Now let us discuss the main topic, that is the function of iodine, okay, or the role of iodine, the importance of iodine in our body, as this is also an essential micronutrient, okay, as that of the vitamin A, it is again an essential micronutrient which is essential for our body or the normal functioning of body. So the requirement for the synthesis of the thyroid hormone, that is T3 hormone and T4 hormone, are very important, and this iodine is most of the important for the proper functioning or the proper synthesis of these two hormones, that is T3 and T4. And T3 is called as the triiodothyronine and T4 is called as the thyroxine. Okay, so these are very most or the very important hormone related to the metabolism, as well as these are important for to maintain our body temperature or the internal body temperature and heart rate also. Okay, so these are the hormones that are mostly synthesized by the thyroid gland. Okay, and for the synthesis of these two hormones, that is T3 and T4, this iodine is most important part. Okay, so if we take improper intake of this iodine, the T3 and T4 synthesis that may affect. Okay, so what is the role of these T3 and T4? We just discuss about this. That is, they play important role in metabolism, in heart rate, in maintaining the internal body temperature. Then they also play role in weight maintenance. Then for the health of our skin, nail and hair also they play major role. Okay? Remember student, for your MCQ type of question or viva related to this iodine deficiency disorder, that is the role of T3 and T4 also. Okay, now this T3 and T4, they are very important, and as they are important, so the production of this T3 and T4, that is related to the iodine intake. So if iodine intake is improper, they may affect the neonatal or the babies also or the infants also. Okay, so the fetus of the neonates the role of this iodine in fetus and infants is to maintain the protein metabolism in brain. Okay, that is the role of this hormone, or we can say this iodine, is to maintain the protein metabolism in the brain. Okay, that is related to the infants or the children. Then here, this is the RDA is given to you, that is the recommended daily allowance. Recommended dietary allowance, that is called as RDA, that is your daily requirement of the iodine is given here in this chart. So you can see here that is the RDA of iodine for infants. Okay, that is the 50 microgram. Okay, that is the daily requirement of this iodine for infant is 50 microgram. Then for children it is 100 microgram, for adult it is 150 microgram, and for pregnant mothers it is 200 microgram. Okay. Now let us discuss the sources of this iodine. Okay. So what are the sources of this iodine? These are mentioned here. You can see the seafood. Okay, seafood that contains sea fish or the sea salt mainly, that are rich in iodine. So you can intake or you can use this food in your daily diet to improvise your iodine level. Okay. Then cod liver oil is again a source of this iodine. Then small amount of milk, that also contain iodine. Some meat, vegetables and cereal, they also contain iodine. These are the rich sources of iodine, you can say. And these iodines, they are variable in water, that is the amount of iodine that is variable in water, that is around 1 to 50 microgram per liter. Okay, why this is so? Why the amount of iodine is variable in water? That is because of, as you can see, the rainwater that percolates through the soil, right? As they percolate through the soil at the bottom level, they consume or they absorb the iodine present in that particular soil. Okay, so depend upon the soil content or the iodine content of soil, the amount of iodine that is present in water, that may also vary, right? And as you can see here, this iodine content of water and crops. Okay, so the crops, they also contain iodine, as we have discussed the sources of iodine and the food, or the food sources are given here, right? So they contain the crops and the water content soil, or water content iodine, that is depend on the iodine content of soil. Okay, as crop and water, they both absorb iodine from the soil, right? So these are some sources regarding the iodine. Now let us discuss the another term, that is the goitrogens. We have discussed the sources or the iodine-rich food. Okay, that is the sources of iodine. But there are some sources of iodine that are harmful to your body. These are called as the goitrogens. So goitrogens are nothing but the name itself suggests they are responsible to form the goiter disease, that is related to the iron. Okay, that is excess of this iron that may also lead to the goiter. Okay, sorry, excess of iodine that may also lead to this goiter disease, that is enlargement of your thyroid gland that is present at your neck portion. Okay, so enlargement or the bulginess of the neck is appear in that case of this goiter. So these are some goitrogens. You need to avoid this food from your daily diet. Okay, so these goitrogens are the naturally occurring substances that interfere with the function of the thyroid gland. Okay, as they interfere with the function of the thyroid gland, they are responsible for the enlargement of the thyroid gland. Okay, so you need to avoid these goitrogens in your food. So what are these goitrogens? These are the example. Let's see. Okay, so the vegetables of Brassica group. Okay, what are the Brassica group vegetable? As you know, the cabbage, cauliflower, radish, these are the Brassica group, or these are the goitrogens that are harmful for the functioning of the thyroid gland. Okay, then these goitrogens, they mainly contain two things or the two substances. These are mainly the goitrogens. Okay, what are these? These are, first is the thiocyanate and second is the cyanoglycosides. So these are the glycogen. So remember the name of these goitrogens for your MCQ type of question. Okay, then these goitrogens can be inactivated by heating. Okay, as you know, the radish, cabbage, or cauliflower, you can take it as, or you can consume it as it is. Okay, or if you consume it as it is, they contains this goitrogens. But if you heat or you boil this brassica group of food or brassica group of vegetable, you can avoid this goitrogen, or you can inactivate the goitrogens present in this cabbage or the radish by heating of it or boiling of it. Okay, if you want to consume this food, you can heat them and then you can consume the cabbage and the radish or the cauliflower. Okay. Now the absorption of this iodine in our body, how it get absorbed or how the iodine is responsible for the production of the thyroid hormones. Okay. So the absorption of this iodine takes place in the small intestine. Okay. First it will go to the stomach and then it will absorb in the small intestine. But as you know, we consume whatever the iodine we consume in daily diet. Okay, so 30% is utilized by the thyroid gland only, and for the synthesis of the hormone or the T3 T4 hormone. Okay, whatever the iodine we consume, only 30% is get utilized for the production of T3 and T4 hormone by the thyroid gland, and rest of the other iodine which we consume that get excreted in the urine. Okay. Now with the help of this diagram, you can see. First, you can see the gray color, that is TRM, that is thyrotropin releasing hormone is given here, that is TRH, that is secreted by the neurons of the hypothalamus. Okay, as you know, this hypothalamus is the part of brain. Okay, so this part of brain or the other brain centers also, in condition of cold exposure, when they get exposure to the cold, okay, they produce this TRH, okay, that is thyroid releasing hormone. Okay, this hypothalamus or the neuron secretes this TRH. Then this TRH stimulates the pituitary gland to secrete the thyroid stimulating hormone, that is called as TSH. The yellow color you can see the TSH hormone, that is TRH stimulates the TSH, that is TSH is produced by the anterior pituitary gland. Then this TRH that stimulates anterior pituitary gland to produce the TSH hormone. Okay, when this TSH hormone is getting produced in this anterior pituitary, they induce the production of the thyroid hormone, that is the production of T3 and T4 hormone. Okay, as this TSH hormone that stimulates this thyroid gland to produce the T3 and T4 hormone. Okay, and then when the T3 and T4 get produced, once they go to the target cells throughout the body for their normal function. As we have already discussed, what are the functioning of the T3 and T4, right? That is body temperature maintaining, your weight maintenance and metabolism, heart rate maintenance, your nail, skin and hair growth maintenance. These are the roles of this T3 and T4 hormone, right? So this is the absorption of this iodine, you can say, for the thyroid hormones. Now let's discuss the iodine deficiency disorders. Okay, what are the actual iodine deficiency disorders? We see. So what are these iodine deficiency disorders that refer to the spectrum of health? Okay, that is consequences resulting from the inadequate intake of the iodine. Okay. So what are these iodine deficiency disorders or the IDD? They are mainly the disorders that is because of the improper intake of iodine. Okay, that is the improper intake of iodine. That means that may contain excess intake of iodine also and less intake of iodine also, that are harmful or that are responsible for this iodine deficiency disorders, right? So this iodine deficiency disorder due to the improper intake of iodine, these are the major nutritional problem in so many countries. Okay. So most of the countries or so many countries are get affected due to this IBD. Okay, so we'll discuss what are those countries in next slide. Before that, the spectrum of diseases from intrauterine to childhood, that is, and adulthood also. As we are discussing here, the spectrum of this disease. So, what is the spectrum of this disease? This is the iron deficiency disorder. That is, it is distributed in some stages of man's life cycle. Okay, so stages are involved here for this iron deficiency disorder that are from the intrauterine, that is the child or the infant which is present in the mother's womb, that may also get affected due to this iodine deficiency. Okay, then the childhood age that get also affected due to this iron deficiency, and adults are also get affected due to this improper intake of the iodine or the iodine deficiency. Okay, so this is the spectrum. You can see the distribution of this iodine deficiency disorder is seen in all stages of life. Okay, that's why this is called as a spectrum of disease. Okay. Now let's discuss the problem burden here. What is the problem? Okay, we'll see. So around more than 7% of the world's population suffer from this iodine deficiency or the iodine deficiency disorder. Okay, so the serious problem is the third world countries like India, okay, then Bangladesh, Bhutan, Myanmar, then Indonesia, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Thailand are most affected countries, or these are the countries are suffering from the IDD or the iron deficiency disorders. Okay, and severity of the the severity of this iron deficiency disorder is mainly seen in the Southeast Asia. Okay. There are many more countries which are also get affected. So we'll see the sub-Himalayan goiter belt is the world's most intense goiter endemic region, affecting nearly 120 million people. Okay, so you can see here the highlighted in the diagram. You can see the highlighted part in blue color, that is called as the sub-Himalayan goiter belt. Okay, so this is the most affected area due to this iron deficiency. Okay, that is, this area is called as a goiter belt or the sub-Himalayan goiter belt because the most common iron deficiency disorder goiter is observed here. Okay, that are nearly 120 million people are get affected here nowadays. Some extra Himalayan foci that close to the low-lying hills are also get affected, and the area of this extra Himalayan region that belongs to the Chota Nagpur region of Bihar also, you can say. Then hilly areas of Madhya Pradesh and parts of the Western Ghats also. Then Maharashtra, Kerala, and Karnataka. That Western Ghats belongs to the Maharashtra, Kerala, and Karnataka. And the Eastern Ghats also that may get affected, or they are affected with this iron deficiency disorder as reported here. Okay, so you need to remember the areas which are affected by this iron deficiency. Okay. Now let us discuss the actual iodine deficiency disorders here. So some disorders are mentioned here. That is according to the life stages. Okay, so first stage of life or the man's life is adult stage is given here. So the iodine deficiency disorder for this adult, that is the hypothyroidism and the raised TSH. Raised TSH means hypothyroidism, that is the low secretion of thyroid hormone, and raised TSH, that is the increased concentration of the thyroid stimulating hormone. As we have seen in this figure before, let's discuss. Yes, this figure. As you can see, this red positive sign that indicates the stimulation. Okay, and the negative feedback you can see in green color, that is the extra or the overproduction of TSH, that is also responsible for the decrease in production of TRH. If this TSH is present in more higher concentration, that is responsible for the repression of the TRH hormone. Okay, and obviously it will also affect the T3 and T4 production. Okay, that is the higher level of TSH hormone that affects the production of the T3 and T4. Okay. Yes. Now let's come to the topic once again. That is, in adult, the next IDD is hyperplasia results in goiter. Okay, we'll see the diagram or the image of goiter in next slide. So, as we have discussed, what is this goiter? Goiter is nothing but the enlargement of the thyroid gland. Okay, and the bulgy appearance of the neck is seen in the people because of this hyperplasia. Then lethargy, that is the tiredness. Okay, then poor cold tolerance, that means poor cold tolerance means the person feel cold in every season. That is, in summer also he feels cold. Okay. Then bradycardia, then myxoedema and infertility. These are also some iron deficiency disorders observed in adults. Okay. So what are these? We'll discuss in next slide with the help of diagrams. Before that, let's discuss the fetus and the infant's IDD, okay, or iodine deficiency disorder in fetus or infants or in children. That is the cretinism. We'll see with the help of a diagram in next slide. Then mental retardation is observed. Hearing defect is observed. Then speech defect is observed. That is, that child cannot speak properly. The child cannot hear properly. Then squint. Squint is nothing but in Marathi, it is called as Tirolepana, or that person or that child cannot see properly. Okay, that is one, or in Hindi it is called as वो तिरछा देखते हैं. वो जो भी babies है that cannot see straight. Okay, that is called as squint. Then disorder of gait, that is that child cannot walk straight. Okay. Then growth retardation is there in infants and in fetus. Then at birth, stillbirth is observed. That is, that baby that they dies at the time or the before their birth. Okay. Then miscarriage and the neonatal hypothyroidism is also observed at the birth also. Okay. So let's discuss this IDD with the help of the figure in adults. As we have discussed, it is the goiter disease. So in this first figure, you can see this female is suffering from the goiter, that is enlargement of the thyroid gland is observed here. Okay, that is because of the iodine deficiency. Okay, then another disease, that is cretinism, that is observed in children or the infants. That is because of lack of thyroxine from birth. Okay, that is before birth also. That is, or it could be from lack of thyroid gland or lack of iodine in mother. Okay, that is the lack of this thyroid or the iodine, that is from their mother. Then severe and the irreparable mental defects is observed here in this cretinism. Then stunted growth is observed, that is short height is observed. Then reduced growth and the function of many organs is also reduced in this cretinism. Okay. Then next disease is the myxoedema. Okay, myxoedema here the last figure you can see. In this, dry hair or the coarse parts is observed. Then lateral eyebrows are thin and the periorbital edema is given. That is the puffiness of the outer side of eye you can observe. Okay. Then the puffy dull face with the dry skin is observed in this myxoedema. Okay, so these are some diseases or the iodine deficiency diseases. Then another disease is also given here, that is disease of adults, that is called as bradycardia. In this figure you can see person feels lightheadedness or the dizziness, especially with the exertion. Okay, again this is related to the tiredness. Then easy fatigueness, that is also related to the tiredness. Then syncope or the fatigue, you can see that is the near syncope you can see. Okay. Then dyspnea, that is shortness of breath. One cannot breathe properly in this case, that is bradycardia. The chest pain or discomfort is there, and the confusion is also there in this bradycardia. That is related to the heart also. That is the heart rate also get affected due to this bradycardia or due to this iron deficiency. Okay. Now here some clinical features are given here through the life cycle, as we have already discussed the life stages which are get affected by this iodine deficiency. Okay, so in detail we'll see in fetus and neonate the abortion. Then we can observe the stillbirth, congenital abnormalities, umbilical hernia, high perinatal, and the infant mortality is also observed here. Then low birth weight. Okay, at the time of the birth, the infant's weight is very less. That is less than 1.5 kg. Okay, it's observed due to this iodine deficiency. Then the neonatal goiter is also observed in some cases. Then lethargy or the tiredness, that is baby is too tired or too lazy, we can say in this case. Then poor feeding, the baby cannot take food or the milk properly in this case. Then prolonged physiological jaundice is also observed in some fetus. Okay. These are some clinical features regarding to the fetus for the neonate. Then infant and the early childhood, you can say the cretinism, as we already discussed, this is observed. Then the mental deficiency is observed here. Then the squint nature, that is improper vision or improper view of eye, you can say here. Then short stature, that is short height is observed here. Hoarseness of voice or the heavy voice is observed in children. Okay. Then deaf mutism is also observed. That is, one cannot hear or one cannot speak in this case. Then child and adolescent age, that may get suffer from the retarded mental and the physical development. Okay, they may mentally or the physically retarded. Okay, then the goiter is normally seen in childhood. Then growth retardation, mental retardation, hoarse voice or the heavy voice is observed here. Then puffiness and the thickening of dry skin or the dry rare hair are observed. Eyelashes, eyebrows are also dry in this case of IDD in child or the adolescent age. Then the delayed sexual maturation is also observed in children of the adolescent age. That is because of this iodine deficiency only. Okay, and in adult, as we already discussed, these adults, they may suffer from the mental and the physical underdevelopment. Okay, both underdevelopment are given here. Then they feel sleepy and slow, or you can call it as slow motion people, or they work so slowly as compared to the other people. Then impaired mental function, that is decision making, they cannot make a decision properly. They always confused while taking some decisions. Okay. Then enlarged thyroid is observed here. Then that is goiter. Then hypothyroidism, and they also feel intolerance to the food, as we already discussed. In summer also. Then weight gain in some cases, that is in hypothyroidism, the weight gain is observed. And somnolence and the hoarseness of voice and the edema or the swelling is observed in adult stages. Okay. So these are some clinical features of the life cycle of man. Now, treatment of this iodine deficiency disorder. Okay. So what are the treatments? Let's discuss. The iodine supplementation or the daily requirement of iodine is 150 microgram per day. Okay. So we can you can take the iodine supplementation externally, which contain whatever the tablets are there, or whatever the food supplement is there, that should contain the 150 microgram of iodine. Okay. Then in non-toxic goiter, that is thyroxine, that should be given as a treatment. Then in large goiter, surgical intervention should be given. Okay, to remove the goiter or that tumoric appearance, that should be removed through the what we can say, through the surgery. Okay, by using surgery we can remove that goiter or the enlarged thyroid gland. Then, so prevention, or we can prevent this IDD or the iodine deficiency disorders by taking proper diet or the proper food which are rich in the iodine. Okay, that is taking of seafood and iodized salt. Okay, and there is a iodine salt that is 100 microgram per gram. Okay, as a potassium iodide, that is 2 gram iodine. Iodized salt contain daily adult requirement of the iodine. Okay? That means iodized salt contains 100 microgram per gram of as a potassium iodide. Okay? That means in salt, iodine is present in the form of potassium iodide. Okay? And the daily requirement of our body is the 2 gram of iodized salt. Okay? So remember these things about the treatment of this ITD. Now the checkup for this iodine, okay, whether the iodine is present in that particular food or the food supplement or salt, we can check it. Okay, so iodine can supplement. Okay, it is a supplementary substance, as you know. So it is constantly lost from the salt. Okay, or excess of this iodine that may be excreted through the urine also, as we have discussed, right? So it is recommended to consume the salt with the iodization. Okay, that means in market both salts are present, that is uniodized and iodized salt. So we have to go for this iodized salt that contains the iodine. Okay, the salt with iodine, it is highly recommended nowadays to avoid this IDD. Okay, and how we can detect whether this salt is contain iodine or not. So there is a one test, that is rapid test kit is available that contains MVI kit by UNICEF available nowadays, right? That is one drop of solution placed on salt containing iodine that produce blue or the purple color. Okay, once that drop we put on that salt, that changes color to the purple or the blue. Okay, so the indication of this purple or the blue coloration is indication of the iodine present in that particular salt. Okay, then now this is the second part from this. This is from your third unit actually. That is the national program for prevention. Okay, what is the national program for the prevention of the goiter as well as the iodine deficiency disorder? Okay, so the under national IDD control program, four main components are given here. Okay, so this national program contains four main components. First is use of iodized salt or oil. Iodized salt is nothing but the fortification of salt by addition of iodine. That is nothing but the use of iodized salt. Okay, or oil. That is it. That contains the iodine. Then iodine monitoring is given. That is the second step. Then third is manpower. Training is also necessary to carry out this such a large program. Then mass communication is again most important to communicate people what is this national program and how to avoid this IDD. Okay, so let's discuss this program in detail. As you can see here, this is the national program, and the first step of this program is using iodized salt or the oil. So here in this figure you can see the iodine namak or Shakti or Buddhi ka rakshak, then iodized salt. So these are some trademarks which are available, or these are some symbols who indicate the iodized salt. Okay, by using this or by observing this symbol, you can find the salt which is iodized. Okay, then it is most widely used prophylactic measure first. Okay, to control iodine deficiency, this is most widely used prophylactic measure, that means to prevent or to avoid the IDD. Okay, that is using of iodized salt and oil. So iodization of salt with the potassium iodine. Okay, iodide. As we have discussed that salt contain iodine in the form of the potassium iodide. So the iodization or the fortification of salt that is takes place by addition of the potassium iodide here. Right? So in India, ionization is fixed under prevention of food adulteration. Okay. So in India, iodization takes place under the food adulteration, that is the PFA Act. Okay. So by using this PFA Act, the most common salt is iodized. In this act, more than 30 ppm iodine at production point is available, and it is distributed more than 50 ppm at the consumer level. Okay. So this act is mainly for the iodization or iodization of salt actually. Then government of India also proposed to replace the common salt with the iodized salt, that is called as a universal iodization. Okay. So universal iodization is very important to avoid the IDD, as the addition or the fortification is common salt is carried out here by addition of the iodine or the potassium iodide, we can say. Then the double fortification salt, that is 2-in-1 salt, is also available in the market by using this, or that is through the Food Adulteration or the PFA Act. Now, as we have discussed the iodized salt, now we'll discuss the iodized oil is also available. Okay. So this iodized oil, that is intramuscular injection, is given. That is mostly poppy seed oil is used in this intramuscular injection to provide the iodine. Okay. So injections also can be given to the person to control or to prevent the iodine deficiency. Okay. Then Neem Hyderabad developed iodized oil in safflower and sapola oil. Okay. In Hyderabad also there is one act is carried out to iodize the sapola or the safflower oil. Then dose requirement of this iodized oil is 1 ml. Okay, that is intramuscular. So intramuscular injection of 1 ml of oil is important for this iodine or to control this iodine deficiency in our body. Okay, and this will protect your body about 4 years. Okay, so 4 years you know you will not you need not to take any other food which is rich in iodine. Okay, so 1 ml injection of this iodized oil is sufficient and it will protect your body from IDD about 4 years. Okay, then it is quite expensive than the common iodine salt. Then reaching every victim is difficult as the intramuscular injection should be given to the people. So it is very difficult to reach the victim which are a victim of IDD actually because of the large population of many countries, right? Then it is recommended for severely endemic population where the quick response is needed. As we have discussed, the places which are highly affected by this IDD, at that area this iodide oil or the intramuscular injection should be provided. Okay, so this is the main act of this national program. Then this iodized oil that can orally also given, okay, that can be given intramuscular or injections or through the orally also. Okay, it is technically simple as it is given orally, right? Then oral oil and the sodium iodide tablets are also available in the market, so you can take it as it is. Then limited research is available of this iodized oral oil actually. So it is costlier than the intramuscular oil. Okay? So this tablets of the oral oil is quite costlier than the intramuscular oil or the salt, you can say. Now the second step of this national program is iodine monitoring. Okay, so you need to monitor the iodine level throughout the stages of life or how it get excreted in the body. You should monitor, or how it get absorbed in the body, that should be also monitored. Okay, so the network of laboratories are present who monitor the iodine level. Okay, the first monitor level is the iodine excretion detection. Okay, how iodine or how much iodine get excreted, that is also detected by one laboratory. Then second laboratory is for the detection of iodine in water and water, soil and food. Okay, that is iodine, how much iodine is present in water, soil and food, that is also get monitored with the help of some other laboratories which are involved in this national program. And thirdly, they see the detection of iodine in salt for the quality control. Okay, as we can distribute salt very quickly than any other method. Okay, or it is best to distribute the iodized salt. Okay, than to carry out any other method for the for to prevent the IDD. Okay, so the detection of iodine in salt for the quality control. This is the third stage or the third laboratory's work is to detect iodine in salt. That is how much iodine is present in salt, it is detected in salt. Okay, but it is monitored here. Then the neonatal hypothyroidism, at the stage of the neonatal or the infant, The iodine level is monitored also with the help of some other laboratories which are involved in this national program again, right? That is sensitive pointer of environmental iodine deficiency, an indicator for monitoring impact of program. Okay, so this stage is very important for the pointer step, you can say, that is the observation of iodine level in neonates. Okay. So this second iodine monitoring program or this national program is like this. Then third is the most important thing of this national program, that is manpower training. Okay, as they are carrying out such a huge program of this monitoring of iodine level at various stages of life or at various areas, the manpower is much needed for this program. Okay, that is to all related program. Okay, at every stage we need manpower. Then training in all aspect of goiter control, then including legal enforcement and public education, goiter survey methodology and lab techniques. So for all these work we need or they need huge manpower to carry out this program more successfully. Okay, so this is again one important step. And the last step of this national program to control IDD, that is the mass communication. Okay, mass communication is introduction, education, and communication activities. Okay, that is, this is the main tool for the nutritional education. By providing this mass communication, they provide education to people, they educate the people through this mass communication. As they communicate with the people one by one. Okay, how they communicate to people, they create of public awareness through so many things like they give lectures on this IDD, then road shows, then audio-visual aids they carry out, then school and the women groups, etc. Okay. By drama also they communicate to the people as they aware people through the road shows also as mentioned here. Then audio-visual clips are also available to prevent or to control this IDD. Okay, through this national program. Then IEC campaign to increase the awareness on consumption of the iodine salt. Okay, that is information, education, and communication campaigns are carried out. That is for the consumption of iodine salt. That is convey people to please take iodine salt so that you cannot go through the iodine deficiency disorder or you will prevent from this IDD. Okay. Then the global IDD day of this global IDD day is the 25th October. Okay. For your MCQ, this question may be asked, that is what is global IDD or the global iodine deficiency day is 21st of October. Okay, remember this. So this was all about the national program to prevent or to control the goiter as well as the iodine deficiency disorder. Okay, remember this. And for this, I have referred these references. You can also refer for the detail of this IDD. Then now students, you need to assign two questions. That is, first is explain iodine deficiency disorder in detail in all stages of man's life. Then second question, what is the national program for the prevention of IDD? The stages of this national program you need to mention. Now you can upload this assignment on Google Drive or the email amritadada@educationcollege.ac.in. So let's summarize this topic. So in this topic we have studied what is IDD, iodine deficiency disorder, sources of iodine, functions, role of iodine, causes of iodine deficiency disorder, and the national program for the prevention of this IDD. Right? Now in the next lecture we are going to see the poor nutrition. In that we are going to see the obesity, coronary heart diseases, etc. Hope you enjoy the video. Thank you so much.